If you clicked on this video, the odds are your finances feel like a train wreck, and you're not alone. For years, we were juggling auto debits and all sorts of dumbassery, wondering where the money was going. I am very glad you're here because you're gonna walk away from this video knowing exactly how we fixed our financial chaos step by step so you can take control of your finances with actual strategies to apply to your restaurants based upon the 20 years that we've been running ours and turning it into an 8-figure restaurant group with 12 stores and 7 brands. I'm Mike Bausch, owner of Andolini's Worldwide, and I've created the Unsliced Restaurant System. So let's dive into the first big lesson, creating a 13-month P&L. And you might think, that sounds ridiculous. There's only 12 months in a year. I'm gonna break down why that is so damn important and how and why it's a financial game changer. But before I get into it, if you are ready to take your restaurant game seriously, then book a restaurant review call. The link is in the description. It is completely free, where we will deep dive on your brand, everything that you got going on for you, your team, your finances, all of it, and see if we can get you out of that funk even quicker with a path to truly sustainable growth on your terms. So first thing, you're gonna create a 13-month P&L. 13 months. Why? Well, January and February are not the same. Totally different months. January, more days, which means potentially more Fridays. Your Fridays probably do way better than your Mondays, right? Well, if there's 5 Fridays versus February's 4 Fridays, how are you gonna compare the two? It doesn't make sense. It's significantly smarter to compare 4-week period to a 4-week period because our routines work in weeks. They work in weeks, not months. 4 weeks is akin to 4 weeks. Your Monday is probably a lot like your next Monday, but your Monday is probably much different than your Friday, not just in your daily routine, but of course in your sales. So we have to compare comparables. And to pull that off, a 13-month calendar is going to be significantly better to understand what did we do here versus there. Why did we do well there? If you don't do that, you're like, well, we had a really great February. Did you, or did you just have an extra Friday? And this 13-month P&L should be obvious, stupid obvious. Green, we made money. Red, bad, something went wrong. Food cost wasn't in line. Labor was off. Red, bad, green, good. Obvious, where you could put the data in a seamless way and then just look at it and be like, yep, that makes sense. We need to fix that, but good job there. And let me take a moment to talk about your CPA and QuickBooks. QuickBooks is great. You ever see QuickBooks as a printout though from a profit and loss? It makes absolutely no functional sense for an operator. It's great for whatever reason CPAs love it to be in this weird triple spaced format that QuickBooks does. That's super duper for the tax man. It ain't great for you. Try giving that to a 17-year-old and say, hey, dissect what we did right and wrong. And they're not gonna know because it's not designed for them to know. QuickBooks was not designed for you. It was designed for taxes, and it sure as hell wasn't designed for a restaurant owner. That's why you need a solid report based on a 13-month P&L that gives you data that you can act on. It's like a GPS if you're trying to go from New York to LA, and you need a GPS just like your phone provides you. Otherwise, with a CPA, it's not even a map. It's like waiting for smoke to pop off a hill in the distance to gauge if you should go 30 clicks north or west. That's what it is to gauge based upon a CPA's data 3 months later when they give it to you and hope that that's going to tell you if you're doing it right. It's asinine, and you know that. So what are you going to do about it? First step is a 13-month P&L. Second thing you're going to do is you're going to forecast your future. Now, forecasting, again, sounds glorious. How do I do that, Mike? Well, let's start with some simple things. What is an oh crap? What's an oh crap? Oh crap, we got the insurance bill. I didn't even know that happened in February. That's an oh crap. Oh crap, I didn't realize sales were gonna die off this bad. That's an oh crap. Oh crap, we got a lot more business than I remember. What happens in June each year? Oh yeah, they do that big event in town. That is your oh craps that you're not forecasting for. So if you know a big event is coming, where is it on your calendar? Where is it on your projections to understand, hey, we know we're going to have a big few weeks because we got that event in town, just like every year, matching our projections. Now, if you're new, you might not know because you haven't done this for years on end. If you have done this for years on end, then you got a gauge of what happens when. You know when you have that big bill each year. You know when, oh man, we got to deal with that and that and that and that. You just haven't planned for it. And that's what a projection is. It's appropriate financial planning. So when it comes to financially projecting out your future, have you done that? Because if you haven't, you're not really in business. You're kind of a hobbyist, and that's something a hobbyist would never do. Plan? That sounds like it's going to be hard. Nah, I'll just keep doing this food thing. You're a business owner, so act like it. And that means proper projections. And with those projections, now that you know when things are going to happen, you should also project your cash flow. When are we going to dip? When are we going to go up? If this goes like this and that goes like that, then we're in a good spot. Or, hey, if that goes sideways, we're going to need to have some cash reserves. Do we have those? Well, it's a lot more advantageous to go after them now when you know 3 months down the road you could be screwed than to wait till 3 months down the road and be like, oh crap, we're totally screwed and we got no plan. Projections can help you with that. And the inverse, if you're projecting to have a really banger month, then you could be like, well, what are we going to do with it? Are we going to invest in a new store? Are we going to invest in our people? Are we going to just go on a vacation? Preferably you invest into the business in a sustainable and smart way so you can scale. That's the smart move. But you don't know the plan for that smart move if it just happens and you're like, cool. Number 3, and this one might be a little bit of a surprise, and that is cancel your bank card. Cancel your debit card. Cancel all your cards. Cancel all of them. Now, before I explain why you're going to do that, if you are curious what you could do with your brand to fix it right now and all your finances, just go to that link, book a restaurant review call, and let's talk about it. Let's see where you're at. Let's see how to get you to where you want to be. So cancel your cards. The likelihood that you have some bullcrap on your cards is pretty darn high. Do you have a subscription that you shouldn't be paying anymore? Do you have some service that you haven't even used in a while? Cancel all your cards. And then you're going to get, hey, this card defaulted. We need your new card. Cool. Now you can say, do I want to put the card down? Or actually, we're good. I don't need that service anymore. This is an advantageous way to have a purging, a cleansing of all your crap. Lots of restaurant owners have a ton of stuff. Now you could go through all your individual bills, but you might be like, even on something like Google, I see a YouTube bill, but is that our Google? Is that our G Suite? Why do we have 3 of them? Is that a Google ad? You don't know. Cancel it and you'll find out. It sounds kind of harsh, but no one's going to come after you as long as you get the new card set up and you're all cool in the gang. And let's say you do owe money. Let's say you did sign a contract. Now you can assess it. But I repeat, the purging of your card to let things fall will be fine. I'm saying still have money in your account. I'm not saying don't have money. I'm saying cancel your cards, get new cards, and see where the chips fall. And once you've done that, along with that, stop having things on auto. Stop it. If you can avoid having an auto debit, stop it. You should pay everything as much as you can by check. That might be controversial, but if you want to control your cash flow, you got to control your cash flow. If your vendor could just pull $50,000 out of your bank account on a moment's notice, and you're like, whoa, 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 you are not in control. Now, I am very, very all in on paying vendors in an appropriate and even ahead of schedule. Now, this takes some level of financial discipline that you are going to pay your bills. Don't be a dirty bastard and not pay your bills, but pay your bills with a check so you can monitor your cash flow and be in control. When it comes to your staff, I don't advise you pay them by check. I advise that you pay them on a pay card or auto debit into their account. When I say checks, I'm talking about your vendors and all the random subscriptions and all the random services that you have. Pay them by check. It's a little bit bigger of a pain in the ass, but you're in control, and you should be matching up that check payment to the invoice. By doing that level of due diligence, you are going to catch errors. You are going to catch double bills. You are going to catch garbage that you wouldn't have caught otherwise, and it's going to pay for itself quite quickly. I've never seen it not. Number 4, negotiate vendor deals. Negotiate. Now, your vendor should be a partner for your brand. They should dig what you do. You should dig them. You should have a nice copacetic relationship. If you don't, if you've never seen them, that's a whole separate issue. You need to have a one-to-one, say, hey, what are we doing here? Here's our goals. What are your goals? Let me help you get to your goals. But here's where I need to be. Are we getting there together? That is a vendor relationship that is built to grow. With that said, if your vendors are not partners, you got to fix it. If they are partners, now how do we enhance it? You can negotiate locked in terms on some big movers. If you're a burger restaurant, you buy a ton of ground beef, lock in the price, get a great price, lock it in, say, hey, I want to buy it just from you. And I want to know that we're going to be good with this for the next 3, even 6 months. So I can just control my projections, which now you know how to do, and make a plan for my food cost and as just a sustainable measure of what we're doing and when. This is totally doable. Vendors are used to this. But if you're not negotiating, you're thinking, well, why would they help me out? Well, by doing something like this and locking in a rate for, let's say, 3 or 6 months, they now know you're just buying it from them. And vendors like that. So enhance the relationship by making their job easier, and they will reward you by giving you better pricing. This is only going to happen if you schedule a meeting with your vendors to really go in on your top movers, what you're doing, and again, your goals. What are your goals? What are their goals? How do we get them to connect? If your vendor does not play ball with you, get another vendor. They all want more money. Maybe they don't want it from you. Maybe you're too small of a fish. Find someone who respects your level of fishhood and you can grow with them. For everything Angelini's Worldwide, we're really big on Roma, which is a division of Performance Food Group. I'm not paid to tell you that. I just dig what they do. They base their whole MO on total cases sold, which means they don't care how much money they made off me on the case of napkins. They just want to know that I'm buying stuff. A lot of vendors do want to just sell you the thing that they make a ton of money on. And at least Performance Food Group doesn't do that. That's a little tip from me to you on how I operate. And then I have my meeting. I talk about what we're doing. I say, are we on the same page? We get in alignment. And then we go about our merry way as two partners growing together. Now, the next massive issue that I see is debilitating for a lot of restaurant owners, and that is truly utilizing and knowing your KPIs. Before I go any further, again, if you want to know what appropriate KPIs are for your brand specifically, book your restaurant review call and let's see what we could be doing to get that knowledge all up in your brain grapes to maximize your day, life, and business. What are KPIs? Well, COGS, cost of goods sold, means your labor cost or your food cost. Do you know them? Do you know them like the back of your hand? Hello, back of hand. I know you. If that's how it is for you, cool. Now, if it's just, I kind of know, or my POS kind of tells me, but it's not matching up with our actuals, or we do inventory, but no one really believes the inventory numbers, then your KPI is not a verifiable KPI. You need your KPI to be absolutely known and trusted, not just by you, but by everyone else involved. Another very important KPI for your front of house staff, for your sales, for any aspect of growing is your average ticket. What's your average ticket? Let's say it's $30 on average is what happens when a customer comes to your restaurant. Well, you might have a server who always gets $35, and that's incredible. But do you know that? Do you know that this server is worth, on average, $5 more per interaction than everyone else? And are you treating them as such or having them train everyone else? That's why it's so important to know that specific KPI and then actionably do things based upon it, because a KPI is worthless without action. It's not just to be like, huh, cool. You want it to be something that leans into action. If your food cost is high, the action, or in this case, reaction, should be to then do things that will reduce that food cost, whether it's cross-utilization, minimizing waste, seeking out theft. You need to know that KPI first. Same thing for labor. If you know labor's high, well, what are you going to do? I don't know, stop paying people so darn much? That ain't a good answer. You need to cross-utilize staff, and i.e. cross-train. One answer, or maybe they work more, maybe you schedule less. There's several different things that need to be done, but you have to know that KPI to then act on it. And what are your sales this year compared to last year? That's another solid KPI. Are we growing or staying even or dying? If you don't have these KPIs in your system, not just, oh, I look at it every now and again, but it's on Front Street, not just for you, but for your salaried managers and really all members of staff and all the owners, you are not setting this up to progress in an advantageous way for your financials to be at the forefront of what you do. Your point of sale is going to be extremely important for this. There are a ton of apps that are very helpful in making these things real. But here's the problem. Let's say you're paying for a $300 app. Well, with food cost and labor cost, are you gonna get 5 times that to justify the expense? If you're using an app that costs $300 a month and you're not getting 5 times the ROI on it, i.e. $1,500 in total savings or new revenue, it's probably a waste of your time. And you should be doing it some other way or tracking it in some more simplistic way or simplified manner, because money is a hard expense. When you spend hard-earned cash and you don't get a direct return either through savings or more revenue, you are setting yourself up for failure. And that's why continuous subscription model apps are problematic. You truly need to know that you're getting your money's worth. So automate your tracking, know your KPIs, and set up your system to be able to make adjustments to get to your goal KPIs because you know them so well. Number 5 big rule, are you even ready for profit? I say that because a lot of restaurants have a ton of business, or they think they're just super busy. They're just busy and they're not actually making profit. Let's say your oven can only handle so many items at once. Even though you think you're selling out because you only made 5 in an hour. That's not really selling out, is it? When you can produce more, you reduce constraint. So what are your constraints? If you are not prepared to do the most massive order you would ever hope to have, then you have a constraint stopping you from doing massive orders. If you want to have catering as a forefront of your business, do you have the staff awareness, and the systems in place to do that? And let's even take that all out of the mix. Let's just say, are your menu items profitable? Are they even profitable? Because if you love this one thing and it costs about $6 to make, but you don't think anyone would ever spend more than $9 on it, you are not making profit on that item. It's a horrible food cost item. Whether you want to be at 30%, 25%, or 20%, that would mean if it costs you $2 to make it, then you got to charge over $10 if you want 20% food cost. I could never charge $10. Well, then you shouldn't sell that item, or you should do shrinkflation, which I do not advise, or add more sizzle to it to sell it at a premium price. But you're not in a position to negotiate, are you? You want to have a great food item. So sell it based upon experience, not based on value. The value is in the experience and how awesome I feel about myself when I eat this thing because you're so great, this place is dope, and I trust this experience. That's what has to all come together, and the financials need to back it up for you to make profit. So when you really think about it, are you even ready to make profit? Because your menu has to be set up that way. And once your menu is set up that way, you have to reduce constraints and eliminate them so that you can do macro level orders at 2 o'clock and 6 o'clock every day, so you could produce from your money machine restaurant and not the little oven that could. And lastly, delegate. Delegate the things you don't like only after you have learned how to do it yourself. Once you know how the P&L should be done, then delegate it. And have that data given to you the way you expect it to be done on your terms. Understand you can't do everything yourself, and you shouldn't. I'm not advising you to do everything. I'm advising you to be the maestro to the orchestra, giving you what you need to be the best maestro possible, not for you to play each instrument individually. That ain't a good system. That ain't even a system. That's just you doing a bunch of work. But to be the orchestra's maestro means you have to understand how the song should be played, and you can only do that when you've done it yourself. And you don't need to have a highly expensive person to do it. You could train almost every task for someone to do it, and you think, there's no way that this person could ever do it. You're selling them and yourself short. Keep in mind what the American military does daily. They were untrained before they went in there, and with a little bit of elbow grease and some focused, nuanced, dedicated training, people could do great things. You just have to trust them and have great training, which means it shows how to do it, it verifies it done, and make sure that there's repetition in the game to verify through countless actions that they know what they're doing. And here's a bonus tip. Don't self-sabotage your profit. Don't do that. Let's say you do the projections. You have a great menu. You've removed constraint. Your restaurant's actually making money. Don't be a dummy and say, okay, great. Now we got to go to the restaurant supply store. And I like this, 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 I like this. No budget, no plan, spending whatever profit you finally have produced. And again, whoa, we don't have no money. You don't have any money because you didn't budget for it. You didn't plan for it. There's a great model in using profit first. The profit first model would say that you would set aside your profit and know profit set aside and that goes into the bank. This only works in a restaurant if you've done it after paying your vendors and your staff. Don't be a dirty bee who makes yourself the first person paid. I don't suggest that for a restaurant business. Another very big concept of the profit first model is that you have a plate. And if you have this plate in front of you, you are going to eat everything on it. So make a smaller plate. So make a budget for small wares. Hey, each month we have this much allocated and no more. So you don't take your profit that you have worked so damn hard for and blow it on something dumb, whether that's small wares, whether that's some cockamamie marketing thing, whether it's some app that promises you the world. Don't waste your profit on bullcrap, because that's how you self-sabotage. And I've seen the best do it, and I've done it myself, and I don't want that for you. Because running a restaurant is hard. I know from personal experience, it is brutally hard. And if you're not where you want to be, I get it. A lot of us have been in that position, me especially. I don't want that for you anymore. So if you want more and you want a finite plan for your restaurant specifically, book your restaurant review call. Let's see what you're doing, and let's see if Unslice can help you get there easier. It's in the description. Now, with that said, you don't want to build a P&L from scratch? Great, I don't want you to. Just get with mine. It's a lot easier if we go about it that way. Additionally, there's a lot of resources out there. You can check out this video on how to do training. I'm pretty proud of it. I think it might help you out, but I'm looking forward to your success in the game when you let yourself have it.